So now that we know about like the pipeline, we know about the follow-up, we know about never leaving an appointment to not, to making sure that you have the follow-up. Now you want to sit there and you want to be able to make sure that you're following a process. This is the process of the buyer intake. Number one, call the prospect in 5 minutes or less. Number two, complete the buyer's questionnaire. Summarize what they've told you, dig deep. We already told you about how to dig deep. Send a Google Calendar invitation. Film a short video. Hey, Johnny, Dan, Rushan. It was really nice to talk to you. I look forward to talking to you later. Here's my contact information. Introduce them to a lender. Set up a second, it says phone call, but it's actually a video consultation is the way I've transitioned that for the pandemic, which is actually end up better. And then a in-house appointment, in-office appointment. I skipped that since the pandemic. We're going to share the obstacles in the marketplace. I'm going to talk to them about hitting the bullseye. I'm going to talk to them about 2 showings or fewer. I'm going to talk to them about the showing, the 1 to 5 script, the home inspection conversation, prepare for the initial appointment. I'm going to prepare the buyer tour. I'm going to share the market statistics. I'm going to ask for openness. I'm going to get hired. Next week, we're going to dive deep into every one of those conversations. This week, I'm going to give you a general overview. I'm going to give you some specifics. We're going to get back to that stuff here in a second. Okay, guys? All right. One of the things that you should realize is that a home buyer and home seller almost never wants to hear from you. Okay? Home buyers and home sellers are going to be nervous. They're going to be scared. They're going to be, they just got pregnant. They just got divorced. They just got married. Their kids just went to school. Whatever the case may be, that is when somebody's contacting you. They are in a place that they are not necessarily, they're dealing with some emotional something. So your job is to understand that your job is to appeal to that emotional something. And then help them to be able to be comfortable and confident. You do that by following these processes. Okay, so you do that by following the process here with the 80-20 consultation, and then you do that by following a process of doing the listing consultation as well. Okay, your job is to really understand those buyers' deep needs. And then you're going to be able to move them to avoid the obstacles. And the better that you understand their deep needs, just like we were talking about earlier with the example for Johnny's investor, I used the make-believe Sally, I used to make believe my dad left me and I don't want to be that guy. Okay, the better that you understand that, and the better that you follow a system and a process, then the better that you'll be able to help your clients. I want you guys to write this down. This is a recipe for communication. Number one, be in rapport. We talked about this on week 1, by the way. Number 2, ask in-depth questions. Number 3, actively listen. That is a foundation that I want you guys to consider to embrace. I want you to always repeat back what your prospect says to you, and I want you to strive to understand how you can generally understand their needs and their desires. So with the understanding that we're going to dive deep next week into the steps on these conversations, and understanding that this is in general what you're looking to be able to achieve, before I go on to the listing presentation, what are your questions?
This isn't a question. I'm also just getting that as far as the conversations, they don't necessarily have to be conversations. They can be texts and chats and things like that. And so I just got getting, I guess, unstuck around that.
For me, if it's text, it's got to be more than just one text, right? It's got to be an actual conversation via text, like back and forth at least 4 or 5 times, and always try to get one more piece of information out, right? So if you have their name, phone number, email, try to get something else out of the conversation. Try to get a birthday. Try to get stuff like that.
Let me give you a recipe for that. If you're going to be relying on text, or email, here's the recipe: statement, question. That's it. Statement, question. Without the question, you're not able to carry on the conversation. Ideally, it's an open question, because otherwise you're going to get no. And if you get, or yes, if you get no or yes, and that puts you in a weird situation where then you got to figure out how to get that no or yes to carry on the conversation.